The Amazon has had its worst forest fires in 2 decades. More than 62,000 square kilometres have been burned this year already, an area bigger than countries like Sri Lanka or Costa Rica. Known as the lungs of the planet, the world relies on the Amazon to absorb a lot of its carbon dioxide. But these fires mean it's now emitting record amounts itself. Our South America correspondent, Ione Wells, has this report.
This is the Amazon rainforest, but it barely resembles its name. Trees warped and blackened like burnt matchsticks. Clouds not full of rain for the continent, but smoke that is choking it. On the front lines, indigenous firefighters. It's their land burning. We say things spread like wildfire because as soon as one is put out, another pops up. For these volunteers, the fight is personal.
If these fires continue, we, the indigenous people, will no longer have life, because today it is killing the plants. In a while, it will be us, because we inhale so much. It is a very aggressive fire that really kills everything that comes its way.
As we speak, she spots another plume of smoke. They'd only just finished putting out fires there. The battle feels constant.
The majority of these fires are arson, people who want to invade the land. Other fires are natural, but that's rare.
A disaster it is. Natural it isn't. Deforestation has slowed in recent years under the new government. But despite attempted crackdowns, lawlessness is still rife. Loggers, miners, farmers use fires to clear land. At the heart of their argument, a belief land should be productive, not protected. This farmer bought his land legally a long time ago. He can understand why Amazonian farming is booming.
I think it is due to the growth of the population that has increased planting up here. It rained well here. I believe if you're working within the law, there's no problem here. It is a place that provides food. It is a state that can produce a lot. So I think there is still a lot of area to be cultivated here in Amazonas.
The fires are criminal, but made worse by Brazil's worst ever drought, caused by the El Niño weather phenomenon and climate change. This is supposed to be the Madeira River, a tributary of the Amazon. This is what communities must do to get water now.
It's the worst drought I've ever seen in my entire life. It has brought a lot of consequences. The absence of food on the riverside dwellers' table, the fish are gone, there are elderly people with chronic illnesses, who have to make this journey.
The impact on the community here is clear, but this matters for everyone. The world relies on the Amazon to absorb a lot of its carbon. And as you can see from the smoke in the sky here, it's now emitting record amounts itself.
Life here knows the cost of that, already falling prey to the rainforest's new greatest predators. Ione Wells, BBC News in the Amazon.
Well, let's speak now to Tessa Azevedo, a Brazilian forest scientist and engineer at the Climate Observatory. That's a Brazilian environmental lobby group. Thank you very much for joining us today. And tell us more. Ione spoke about it a bit in her report, but tell us more about the reasons that there are so many wildfires this year in the Amazon.
Yeah, the first thing to look at is that there is El Niño, which is a phenomenon that increase the temperature of the water in the Atlantic, in the Pacific, and this is particularly strong this year. But it's in conjunction also with a very big effect on the climate change in the Amazon, that we are bringing a very, very, very dry season. It's like that's the driest season we have on record since the last 60 years when it's started to be record. So this creates a condition for a fire, but fire only starts if you have ignition. Like if you have somebody starting the fire in the Amazon. The fire don't start naturally in the Amazon, except in a very occasional ways when you have lightning, which is not the case right now. So what we are having now is this effect of the very, very dry season with fire that is spreading on a different pattern that previous years. So just to have an idea, the figures that were presented on the just minutes ago at 16 million hectares of fires. This is not fire on forest. Forest is just part of that. So it's about 40% of this area was on forest. But in previous years, the proportion of forest that has been on fire was about 15%. So what is changing this year is that not only the total area of fire is increasing, but the proportion of area that's happened on forest is increasing due to the dry conditions. So much more forest being affected, and you know the phrase "lungs of the planet" tells us, doesn't it, just how important the Amazon rainforest is to try to deal with the climate crisis. Now, the previous Brazilian president, Jair Bolsonaro, was seen as a skeptic on the issue of the climate crisis. His successor, President Lula, we saw him with Emmanuel Macron, the French president, standing in the Amazon. They announced a €1 billion green investment plan for the Amazon. But is it difficult for President Lula to try to catch up, if you like, with the problems that have been building up in the Amazon for so many years? Yeah, you see, for fire, you have three things operating, right? One is you need material to burn, and so it's intrinsically linked with deforestation historically. Like historically, you have like deforestation explaining a lot of what happens with the fire events. So you clear cut the forest, and then when it's dry, you put fire to finish the job, and this fire goes into the forest also. So the deforestation part is going very well, like it's declining a lot, 50% decline on the first year of the government. But there is this kind of decoupling happening right now. It's so dry that the fire that is escaping to the forest is actually burning a much larger area of forest. It's very important to understand. I'm sorry to stop you there. We're almost out of time, but really good to hear from you. Very interesting to discuss this story. Tasso Azevedo there, Brazilian forest scientist. Do stay with us here on BBC News.